If you feel like there's not enough hours in the day to do all the things that you want to do, go to the gym, work on your side hustle, spend time with your family and friends while also working your day job or your 9 to 5, then you need to create more time. And to do that, you have to wake up earlier and have a solid morning routine. And in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to do that, even if you're not a morning person. So that if you want to start your day feeling grounded instead of rushed, then this video is for you. And if you like these kinds of videos, definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and without further ado, let's get into it. I talked about this concept in my video all about habits, so if you haven't seen that video, you can watch it up here. But your willpower is essentially like a battery. You start the day with a full tank of willpower, almost like, think of it like a glass of water. You have a full glass of water when you first wake up in the morning of willpower. And then as you go throughout the day, the more decisions that you make, the more you're depleting your willpower, so that by the end of the day, you have very little left, if any at all, which is why it can be very challenging to do difficult things after work or at the end of a long day. So if you're trying to be consistent with something that is challenging or something that is new for you, something that you don't yet have as a habit, like for example, going to the gym, or working on your side hustle or your side business, you want to do it when your willpower is full, which is in the morning. So in the 5 a.m. Club, Robin Sharma shares a very famous quote: "Own your morning, elevate your life." And that's because what you do in the early morning sets the tone for the rest of the day, because that is when your willpower and your focus is at its peak. So you want to use that energy to work on whatever it is that you want to work on. Whatever it is that you want to create momentum towards, put that in the morning. Throughout the day, we just get so overwhelmed with decisions. Decision fatigue sets in, and it's a lot harder to stay disciplined. Not only that, but how you start your day truly dictates how the rest of your day goes. Whenever I accidentally sleep in a little bit too much and I don't have as much time in the morning and I'm rushing and I'm running around like a crazy woman, by the time I actually get to work and I sit down on my desk, I feel so stressed. Like my cortisol is at peak high and I feel overwhelmed, and it's a lot more difficult for me to be focused on my work. Whereas the days when I wake up early and I have a solid morning routine, I have a lot of time for myself and a lot of time to ease into the day, I get to work feeling refreshed. Like my mind feels ready to take on the new day. So how do you actually wake up earlier and create a morning routine, especially if you're not a morning person? You have to start with baby steps. I think so often people jump to, I want to be part of the 5 a.m. club, so I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. But right now they're waking up at 7:30 or 8 a.m. And that's a pretty big jump. If you try to go from waking up at 7:30 a.m. to now all of a sudden you want to wake up at 5 a.m., it's going to feel kind of like, you know, when you have an early morning flight and you have to wake up way earlier than you normally do, how you feel just like exhausted and drained the entire day. That's how it feels like when you try to jump to like a super early morning time. So you want to start with baby steps. So if right now you wake up at 7:30 a.m., which gives you just enough time to get ready for work and leave, just try for 1 week to wake up at 7 a.m. And then the next week, you can move it to 6:45. The week after that, you can move it to 6 a.m. and then 5:30 and then 5:15 and then 5 a.m. Slowly in baby steps. You can take it week by week or even longer, however long it takes for your body to adjust to waking up earlier. And eventually your body is going to naturally want to wake up early. So on my work days, I usually wake up at 5:45 or 6 a.m. And now naturally my body wakes up that early, even on the weekends. Sometimes I'll wake up at like 7 a.m. on the weekends because I'll go to sleep a little bit later on the weekends, but it's like impossible for me to sleep in past like 9 a.m. these days. So as you slowly start to wake up earlier, you also want to figure out what you're going to do with that time. So let's say phase 1, you're starting with waking up 30 minutes earlier. Pick like 1 to 2 things that you can do in those 30 minutes. So maybe you go on a walk, or maybe you journal or you read. And then in phase 2, you're now waking up an additional 30 minutes early. So you have an hour in the morning. So then you can add one more thing. You know, now you do a 30-minute walk and 30 minutes of journaling. And then phase 3, another 30 minutes earlier and then you could add something else. So now you go on a walk, you journal, and you do some yoga, you do some stretching. And if you're somebody who struggles with looking at your phone first thing in the morning, because trust me, for the longest time, I really struggled with that. And that was probably like my biggest bad habit that was so difficult for me to break until finally, literally the easiest solution, I don't know how I didn't think of this sooner, is I just don't have my phone in my room at all. I leave my phone downstairs plugged in, and I have Alexa as my alarm clock. And also something else that I do with Alexa is that I have it programmed to a light in my room. So whenever I set my alarm, the light is programmed to slowly turn on 30 minutes before my alarm goes off. So that way I don't wake up to a pitch black room, because that was something else that was making it very challenging for me to get out of bed in the morning, is because I wanted to wake up so early, inevitably, like that would mean waking up before the sun comes up. So I'm waking up in this dark room and my body just wants to go back to sleep. So I can leave a link to the light bulb that I have in the description box, but it's like a $30 light bulb from Amazon. You know, you do not need anything fancy. Like I definitely went a little crazy and I invested in the Hatch alarm clock. I had it for like a week and I was like, this is nothing special. And I figured out that I could just do basically the same thing with an Amazon, light bulb, like an Alexa powered light bulb. So that has been really helpful. And then, like I said, leaving my phone completely out of my room. And also on my phone, there's this app called Opal where you can block all of your apps. So I actually block all of my apps until 8 in the morning. That includes my messages too. So I can go on my phone because I like to have my phone while I walk my dog so that I can listen to a podcast or an audiobook in the morning. And so Opal completely blocks out all of your apps. So that way I don't even see any notifications. I don't see anything on my phone. It's essentially like a dummy phone. Like all I can do is, listen to podcasts or listen to music basically. And then on the weekends, I push that to 11 a.m. because it is so nice. It's just so nice to not be on social media, not be on my phone so early in the morning. It's been really helpful. Also, if you want to wake up earlier and create a solid morning routine, it really all starts with your nighttime routine. It starts with what you're doing the night before. If you are going to sleep at 1 in the morning, you are not going to be able to wake up at 5 in the morning and be fully functioning and ready to go. That's not enough sleep. You need to give yourself enough time to sleep. Sleep is so important. Like, even though I definitely think it's good to wake up early, have a solid morning routine, I think sleep is way more important. Like sleep, especially like the older we get, sleep is so important. So it really all starts with your nighttime routine. And the reason I kind of push this to the end of the video is mostly because although your nighttime routine does really matter, if you're somebody who struggles to fall asleep early and just struggles to sleep in general, because that's kind of me, honestly, as soon as I lay in bed, it's like my mind is racing. So I wanted to share a couple of things that have helped me fall asleep easier. The first thing is that you do kind of have to go through a period of resetting your circadian rhythm. So when I first moved back home to Florida, I was in San Diego for like 2 years. And, obviously they're 3 hours ahead in California. And I was working remote. So I was kind of able to sleep in a little bit more because I didn't have like a commute. Whereas when I moved back to Florida, I started working a job where I have to wake up early and I have to commute. And it was so challenging for me to start waking up early. I struggled with it for a couple of months, which is why I did end up investing in the Hatch alarm clock. Like, I was desperate. I was trying everything until finally I realized, like, okay, I can't control falling asleep. Like, you can't force yourself to go to sleep. Like, yes, you can take melatonin, you can take this, you can take that. Like, I don't personally like taking anything besides, magnesium. Like, I will take magnesium to help me fall asleep. But besides that, like, I don't want to take like melatonin or like NyQuil or something like that because it doesn't give me like the most optimal sleep. So what I had to do is I had to essentially reset my circadian rhythm for like an entire week. I forced myself to wake up early and it was a struggle. Even though I went to sleep late, I forced myself to wake up early and it was really challenging, but after doing that for like a week, my body just naturally wanted to go to sleep earlier because I was so exhausted by the end of the day. Also, if you struggle to fall asleep, like it's really helpful to make sure that you're active throughout the day, to not drink coffee too late at night, and also allow yourself to have like a wind down routine. So I never just like get into bed and like go straight to sleep. I will usually start my wind down routine at 9 p.m. where I'll plug in my phone downstairs and then I'll come upstairs to my bedroom, do my skincare, get ready for bed. And something that I've been doing that's been super helpful, because when I lay down, my mind races. So if you're this type of person, this could potentially help you. What I've been doing is I will tell Alexa to set a 15-minute timer, and I will literally just sit there. Like, it's kind of like meditation, but my eyes are open and I just am letting my brain process all these different things. So all of like the mind racing and the thoughts racing that my mind loves to do as soon as I put my head on the pillow, I am like creating that situation before I go to bed so that I can sort all my thoughts out, so that when I actually do lay down, there's no thoughts left for me to sort out. I've already sorted it all out. So that's been something that's been super helpful, is just giving myself that quiet time and that space away from stimulation, away from anything. Like, I'm not reading, I'm not doing anything in those 15 minutes. I'm just existing. And that's just allowing my mind to work itself out so that when I actually go to sleep and try falling asleep, like I'm not thinking about what I need to do tomorrow because I've already thought about it. So yeah, so my wind down routine will start at 9 p.m. and then usually I'm asleep by like 9:45 to 10. So that's like 45 minutes to an hour of winding down with no social media, like no technology, like no stimulation of any sort, and just literally giving myself that space to like naturally wind down. Also, something else that helps too is to set a consistent bedtime. This was really challenging for me when I was self-employed because there was nobody making my schedule for me. So I would essentially go to sleep whenever I wanted, wake up whenever I wanted. One day I would wake up at 7 a.m. The next day I would wake up at 11 a.m. And it was so different every single day. Just like literally never set an alarm. I would just wake up and go to sleep whenever I wanted. But the days that I had to wake up earlier, it was so challenging for me too. So what I have learned is how important it is to have a consistent bedtime and try not to deviate from that bedtime too much, even on the weekends too. You know, of course things are going to happen. Like, we're not always going to have the perfect bedtime routine and all of that. But as long as like a majority of the time you are waking up at the same time and going to sleep at the same time, your body's just going to naturally sink into that rhythm and in that routine. And then naturally, like, you will start to get sleepy at the same time and you will be able to wake up at the same time every single day. And it'll be a lot less of like a force, like forcing yourself to wake up or forcing yourself to go to sleep. I know something that Andrew Huberman talks about is how important it is to get sunlight in your eyes as soon as you wake up, because that helps to set your circadian rhythm. And then also at night to get the light of the sunset into your eyes as well, because that also signals to your mind that it's ready to start producing melatonin. So every day when I wake up, the very first thing I do is I go on a walk. And of course, it's not always, when the sun is out, because I do wake up pretty early, but while I'm on the walk is usually when the sun is coming up. So I do end up getting the sunlight directly in my eyes, and it really, really helps to just kind of signal to your body like, okay, it is waking time. And then it helps to set your circadian rhythm. Also, something else that has really helped for me to have a lot more of a grounded morning is to prepare everything the night before. I feel like I have always been the type of person that's just like, I'll do it in the morning. I'll get gas in the morning on the way to work, or I'll figure it out in the morning. Oh my goodness. Like, that has gotten me into so much shit because then the next day comes and I'm like still waking up. I'm like exhausted. And now all of a sudden I have to go get gas. Now all of a sudden I got to pick out my outfit for work. It's like, no, make all of those decisions before you go to bed. Prep everything so that you just have to go through the motions in the morning. That has seriously helped me so much. I have noticed that in the early hours in the morning, I just have less tolerance for stress. And I think it's because like my body's still waking up, that like when I also have to do all of these little things that I could have very easily done the night before, it makes me feel more stressed. So for example, like packing my lunch, even though like realistically that takes me 5 minutes to like make my lunch really quick and pack it and put it in my lunchbox, it still feels like stressful to do that in the morning for some reason. So literally just taking the 5 minutes the night before to pack that, to pick out my outfit for work, have it all set out. Even today's like an entire filming day. And last night I made sure that everything was set up. I made sure that my laptop was charged, my camera, everything was all ready so that today I could just kind of not even worry about those things and just go through the motions. When you're creating new habits in your morning routine, you want to make sure that you're following the habit loop so that for every single habit, you have a cue that is triggering the habit, the routine that you follow, and the reward that you get. And if you want to learn more about that whole entire process of mastering your habits, I definitely recommend watching this video next. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Bye!